Hey guys, so today I'm reviewing The Shy Season 7, Episode 3, and this episode is really good. Basically, we got old faces, and basically, we're progressing the storyline. So, basically, the episode starts off with Reg back in town. Reg, we see this mysterious guy, he's in a hoodie, and come to find out, it was Reg. So, Reg faked his death because after that shootout that happened at the end of Season 2, I guess he ended up surviving, went into hiding, and now that dude is dead, he's back and ready to reclaim his throne, I guess. So he's around looking for Nuke, trying to, press him and stuff. So then he goes to Jake's apartment, Jake asks Shock, and then so Jake goes to tell Victor. Victor's shocked too, and then him and Victor end up getting into it because he's saying that, oh, Victor's into niggas or whatever. And they end up smoking, talking, whatever. But Reg is bad, basically just bullying Jake around, basically trying to reclaim the spotlight. He's trying to be back in the streets and whatever. So then we're at the baby shower, Keisha and Tiffany's baby shower. And actually it's like a gender reveal baby shower, whatever. And it's revealed that, Tiffany's having a boy. So, they're excited or whatever. But at the baby shower, Tiffany and Keisha end up getting into it over, parenting EJ. So they end up bumping heads there. So then, um, so then later on, Rob's mom actually ends up asking Tiffany to name Rob's baby Rob Jr. But Tiffany's having, second thoughts because she don't really want to name him Rob Jr. She wants him to have his own name because she already has a, Emmett Jr. So she doesn't know she wants another Jr. At the party, Alicia and Bakari are, getting along. She offers him a drink and, they start getting along. And we got still see Emma's two baby mamas and, Keisha and them start talking, getting along. So then Gemma and Bakari's sister, Brittany, are in the studio and the producer basically saying that he wants them to go to New York with them and they can get them their own place and everything. So Gemma is Gemma's moving to New York and her dad is joining her too. He decides that he wants to go with her too. So then Lene's brother and Dom, they're in the bedroom. They wanted to have sex, but of course he says he's waiting to have sex to marriage, and he says it's hurting him too. But it is what it is. So they end up going to church, and the preacher he's preaching about sex before marriage and this and that and third. Don't let desires don't let them the temptation desire you and this and that and third. So then Dom's like, I don't really agree with his words because I don't think he really lives it because his wife is sleeping around and I don't think he really lives by his words. And and Lene's brother's like, whatever. So Lene's brother ends up proposing to Dom later on in the episode and she accepts. So then Charles ends up catching the pastor having, sex with his white attorney. And he basically tells him that he needs to stop having sex with her because if his followers find out he's having sex with a white woman, he loses a lot of followers. So then Tiffany's on her way to her little, Lamar's meeting and Victor wants to go with her. So I guess her and Victor are about to be a thing. Ugh, whatever. So then Tiffany's talking to Maisha, to give her a little farewell or whatever. And then, Charles is flirting with Tracy and he ends up praying with Tracy or whatever. So then Tracy ends up is at, Sunny's or whatever with Emma's mom. And they end up running into this waiter named Keith and basically, they end up, her and Keith, Tracy and Keith end up having a date and they end up having sex. And that, so nobody really cares, if we're being honest. So then, I'm trying to get to everything before we get to this juicy end. Gemma ends up saying goodbye to Jake, and they both confess that they're no longer in love with each other. So that's that. So then they end up having a going away party for Maisha and Gemma, and everyone's there partying, having a good time. So then the episode ends with Reg and Jake going to Bakari's apartment to see Nook, and Reg basically tells Nook that he wants, he wants to be the boss, and Nook is basically saying no, and they're both basically saying they're not going out without a fight. So I guess they're about to be battling. So that was the end of this week's episode, and I'll see you guys next week for episode 4.